Hi there, I'm Mickey Allen. In part one of this series, we talked about the process of how we come to have certain feelings caused by our emotions and how those two work in tandem to cause certain behaviors. Today, in part two, now that we know the basics, we're going to delve more deeply into how we can make those changes. I hope you'll stay tuned. So let's give a quick recap to the formula, shall we? X, M, E, F, B. X stands for something happens. M is the meaning we give to X. Now, you'll recall that whatever the meaning is we give to this behavior, or this action, XME, this automatically causes certain emotions, okay, based on the meaning that we've given X. Now, these emotions are automatic, okay, because our brain starts to respond based on the meaning we've given to X. So the chemicals start becoming produced in our body. It's all a part of the autonomic system in our body. And so these chemicals that are flooding our body will cause F, or feelings. You'll recall I said, sadness feels a certain way in the body, right? Anger feels a certain way in the body. So depending on the action or the thing that happens and the meaning we've given to it, our brain will produce chemicals, will have an automatic reaction that causes a feeling in our body. Based on that feeling, that's going to determine our B, which is behavior. And we have two choices when it comes to our behavior, how we're going to respond. We can either have an automatic reaction or a thoughtful response. Obviously, we want to be mindful and thoughtful about the responses we have to our emotions and feelings. How do we do that? We have to learn to manage the M. Now, how in the world do we manage the M? How do we manage meaning? Well, let me tell you. There are actually three kinds of meaning, okay? We have a subconscious meaning and an unconscious meaning that can be assigned to X, all right? And then we have a conscious meaning that can be assigned to X. Now, if you've watched any of my hypnosis videos, you understand that there are three very important layers to the mind. We have the unconscious mind, okay? That's the autonomic nervous system that regulates things like our heartbeat and our breathing. We don't have to be conscious at all for these things to continue to happen. Then we have the subconscious mind. Now, our subconscious mind is where we form certain habits of thoughts and behaviors. And this is also where we can habitually give meaning to certain things. And then we have the conscious mind. And this is where we can give conscious meaning to something, all right? And this is when we take a moment to think about it, reflect on it, and give a conscious meaning to X, or to whatever has happened. A good example of an unconscious meaning that we might have is, for example, if you eat bad shrimp, although I don't know why you'd be eating shrimp. Ew. Anyway, I don't want to yuck your yum if you love shrimp. But let's say you eat bad shrimp, okay? Or you drink too much of a certain alcohol. For example, schnapps, cinnamon schnapps to be exact. So I've heard. And you have too much of this, or, it causes you to become ill. This is going to imprint itself, this sickness, this sick reaction is going to imprint itself on your unconscious mind. And so you have your automatic nervous system is going to have your body react to just the sight or even just the smell of it, right? Ugh, it makes you sick, right? Another good example is like PTSD. This is when something where there's an occurrence or an action or something happens and it becomes imprinted in your nervous system. And so you have automatic responses to certain, say, sounds or situations or things like that. Those are unconscious reactions. A good example of a subconscious meaning is where we have formed a habit of thought, okay, or a habit of assigning a certain meaning to a certain situation or even a certain person, okay? Have you ever had an occurrence where you meet someone and you automatically think to yourself, I'm not going to like this person, okay? That could be your subconscious mind attributing the way a certain person looks, or the way they talk, or even the way they dress, or just a certain behavior that they exhibit. And your subconscious mind has already formed an habitual thought of that. And so you meet this person, you've never met him before, you don't know anything about him, but you immediately have this response of, stay away. I'm not going to like this person. Okay. That's our subconscious mind giving meaning. Now, a conscious meaning that we can give to something, again, is where we give it some thought, maybe take a step back, reset, right? And fight any subconscious meanings that we may have given to this particular person or situation. And we think about it, thoughtfully giving meaning to X, whatever's happened, or the person that we're encountering. Now, why do we want to engage our conscious mind in giving meaning? Well, because if it's a subconscious reaction that we have, okay, then we could be having an erroneous assumption, right? And we all know what assumptions do, right? They make an ass out of you and me, right? And you could miss out on either a good opportunity or meeting someone that could really bring something positive into your life. And you could just miss out. And you could even make, a complete ass of yourself, right? Because you're just not being reasonable. You're not being rational. You're not being thoughtful or mindful. So we want to manage our M. And the way we can manage our M, right, is to do a reality check. We step back and ask ourselves, is this just a knee-jerk reaction, right? Is this just our subconscious giving meaning to this? Have I just had a really crappy day and I'm in a mindset where everything is going to suck, everyone I meet or everything that happens is going to be a disaster, right? We could even be triggered by something from the past that has absolutely nothing to do with the present situation. So we want to engage our conscious mind. Now, unconscious meanings can be very helpful. Okay, unconscious meanings that we give to things like bad shrimp or overindulging in something, that's your body's way of protecting you, right? So we don't really want to always suppress these unconscious. This is what, our limbic system is controlling our fight, flight, or freeze response, right? This is a good thing when there's actual danger present. But we need to do a reality check because it may not be that. That may not be the case, okay? And we don't want to allow, our subconscious or our unconscious to always be the one that's controlling our behavior. Because when X happens, if the meaning we give it causes stress in the body. And trust me, all of these chemicals that are caused by our fight, flight, or freeze response, or that are triggering certain emotions and feelings from the past, may not actually be helpful in the present. So we want to make sure that we do a reality check of the meaning that we're giving, because that is going to be healthier for our body and healthier for the situation. So when X happens, we want to sort of train ourselves to get in a responsive mode, not just reactionary mode, right? And if we get ourselves into responsive mode, then we can respond in a thoughtful and appropriate way. So if we step back and say, is this really what I initially thought it was? Okay, is this really what is happening? Is this reality? Okay. And now sometimes really bad things do happen. And if that is the case, we need to take action, right? And so we need to respond in a productive manner. Okay. And not just react. And if it isn't, and we go, well, no, this really isn't the case. This isn't Aunt Bertha trying to make me feel like crap, right? Then we can usually automatically just feel better and realize this person is not trying to attack. We don't need to freeze, flee or fight. And we can save ourselves a lot of trouble, right? And feel better about it. So, in order to take back control of our feelings, we want to make sure that we are managing our M. We're managing the meaning that we're giving to things that are happening, actions that are happening, situations that we're in, thoughtfully, and give them an appropriate meaning so that we may have an appropriate and productive response. Now, of course, life is messy. I'm sure you've heard me say that many times. And sometimes there are bad things that are happening or are about to happen in our lives. And there are times when people are treating us unfairly. And in that case, we do need to take some sort of positive, productive action. And I'll be talking about that in a future upcoming video. So make sure that you click the little subscribe bell and so that you'll be alerted when the next video comes out. As always, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you for spending it with me. And I look forward to seeing you again. And in the meantime, be blessed.